Hi, and welcome to the iOS workshop hosted by Ideas and Coffee in Albuquerque, New Mexico. My name's Chris, and today we're going to go look at what we did in 2020, some of the code examples that we worked through, and come up with some ideas of what we want to do in 2021. Thank you for joining. What I was going to do, if anybody doesn't have anything to share right away, I was going to go into where we left off from last year and what we looked at project-wise. Does anybody have anything they want to share or any questions first? Okay. All right. Well, let me then. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we'll take a look at some of the code here. And I'm going to move this over here. What I'll do is I'll just resize, and since this is Zoom, let me go ahead and make my code easier to see here. Let's see here. They've changed everything again.
They have.
Okay, it's called themes now, so we'll just go back to, I'll do that. There we go.
That's Big Sur, eh? That you're on right there?
It's on what?
You're on Big Sur, correct?
I am, yes. Yes, you can tell, huh?
Yeah, I'm still one behind. I'm still on Catalina 10.15.7, whatever it is. Yeah, I haven't made the jump yet.
Yeah, I normally I normally wait, and when it's a major release, anything that's 0.0, I always wait. This time, I don't know what came over me. I think the world's just going crazy. I thought, you know what the hell? I think I'll just upgrade to 0.0, and it's the first time I ever did it. I didn't regret it, actually. It's been stable and I haven't had any issues. But you know, if my Mac had caught fire, I would have been like, oh well, there's something else. What I had left, where I left off here is, okay, so the bunch of stuff that we did, we looked at some of the basics, like identifying planes, identifying horizontal surfaces. We also played with creating cubes in space and spheres and things like that. We did that pretty early on last year. And so all of this, one of the main themes that we've had is what are the tools available and the building blocks that will let somebody create an AR experience for learning. We've been really thinking about like learning in immersive learning experiences. One of the visions, well, one of the things that are coming obviously is glasses. And so we think that, you know, in light of the pandemic, of course, that was one of the motivators, but even after, assuming that it goes away, one of the things we want to maintain is ability for people to be more productive without having to go into an office, being able to stay home if they choose, and be able to participate in board meetings, in distance learning, classroom situations and things like that. And where you can be in a virtual classroom and you feel like you're part of it, not just, you know, looking at a 9x9 matrix on a Zoom call, you know, so making things more immersive. And so the last thing we did was, and I'll just open this up here, this little thing was called Hello Video on a Plane Detected. And by the way, all the code is typically linked in the meetup. I wonder if we should, and I also, on my website, I also link those. But the meetup is where I usually post stuff first. So if you go through the previous meetups, you'll find the code there.
Okay.
All the code snippets, like this code right here that you're looking up on the screen right now, is available, and I'll just post a link to it later. But anyway, so this app here that we created, which is running now, identifies a horizontal plane, and it does it on my desk. If I point this down here, it identifies a surface, and as I move it, it just realizes that my desk is big, so it keeps updating this image, and it basically just overlays an ocean image on my desk. And And then, of course, if I hit start, one of the things we want to do is like, okay, let's identify plane and let's throw a video on it. So if I hit start, it doesn't do anything. It says it's playing, but it's not playing. I'm going to switch it to a vertical surface instead of a horizontal. So let me find out where we're doing that. We're looking for, you can see the code right here, right? So oh, here it is. So we're going to change this to vertical. And that way, when we detect a vertical surface instead, which will make it easier for displaying this, I'm just going to restart the app.
Yeah, the fact that you have a clear desk has always been a bit problematic.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it really has. So I'm going to go ahead and see. Okay, there we go. So it detected the painting right here. And if I hit start, it should be able to start displaying a video. So that was,
Yeah, cool.
that was the cool thing that we did last year. And I can pause it and then it'll just pause it. And if I move when it's paused, you realize it's realizing that it's not just the painting that's this vertical surface. The whole wall is the surface, right? So if I restart it now, it's just a bigger image, right?
Can you select like a certain region and only have it in that region?
Yes, most definitely you could do that. And let me show you how that code works. Here, I'll just stop this. When you look at the code, the first thing we do is, you're familiar with viewed load. So that basically just sets up the debug options, sets the delegate, and tells it this is where we define the plane detection. This function right here is what creates the node that's going to display the image. So you can see here that we are telling it, so what happens is, let me kind of back up a little bit. Xcode has something when it finds nodes. So when it detects a node, which is in this case a plane, this function is triggered. So it's a scene node, and it creates anchors. So it's got your anchor for the node. That function right here, create node, is where we define the width and the height. So you can see right here we have the extent X and Y. And so we could create a function that gives you the ability to shrink it or resize it using, like using your fingers. For example, you could detect a node, and if you touched it on the screen, we could just create a function that looks at where you're shrinking it or whatever you're doing with it. So yeah, you could do that. It wouldn't be too hard.
Okay.
Yeah. And
you set up some kind of a gesture handler to do that? Is that how that would work?
yes, yeah, exactly. Yeah, a touch gesture recognizer would work, and or yes. So that way you would be able to find a pinch, a zoom type of touch, type of touches. And then the start and touch functions right here. I just added buttons, and so when you detects the start button, if you recall on the screen, I had the start and the pause. All they do is they give it the file URL of the team walking, which is the resource right here. It's an MP4. I invoke the standard audiovisual player. I give it the file URL, and I say, put that in the queue and start playing it. And that's it. So it's pretty simple. You can see that with 6-7 lines of code, we can play a video. And then the rest of the code is these standard functions that Apple provides us to update or remove the node. When you it adds a node when it detects a new node. And then as you move your device around, it realizes, oh, your plane's bigger. This wall, as you saw, first it detected only the painting. And then as I moved my device around, it said, oh, hey, look, this is bigger. So this triggers right here, did update node. And if you notice right here, you have the surface was constantly being updated as I was moving around. And while it's playing, I don't want to update the node. So you notice that there's a check in here. If player time control status is playing, don't update the node because we don't want to mess with the video while it's playing. You know, that could create some ugly crashes. And don't ask me how I know that. So this is to me is one of the coolest ones because we did the most stuff with it in the least amount of code, with very, very little code. I don't know how many lines there are altogether. I mean, I've got a lot of empty spaces and we're looking at 140 lines. So it's probably like 80 altogether lines of code to get this working. All right, so any questions about this particular block? Cool. All right, then I'll close this project and let's take a look at the other one that we did. The flower shop project was very cool. So this one, did we call it flower shop? Video and object, I think, okay, so the flower shop is one that I downloaded from GitHub. That somebody created a way to put a identifier on top of a detected object. So this is really cool. We could scan, there's a scanning app that Apple provides us that lets us scan objects. And once we have the object that we're interested in scanned, we created this little app right here that tries to recognize the object. And when it does, it puts a label over it. And the reason we did this was because I don't know if, I think that was Jamie's idea or Pat's, but the idea was, you know, it would be to help you figure something out or build something. Like if, for example, if you have something like your washing machine needs the filter, you know, you have a bunch of stuff clogging your washing machine and it has a filter that you can take out and get all the gunk out. Well, it would be nice to be able to take your camera and then look in there and have an overlay of what these different things are. So, you know, this is the, you know, something pointing out like pull this out. And then you could just pull that out and then, oh, okay, now take this, you know, now you know what to do, you put it back in. And so being able to identify very specific objects would give manufacturers or developers the ability to create something where people can self-service and figure things out pretty easily. You know, like open the hood in your car and, you know, something's not working. Most people have no idea what's what, right? And they don't even know where to hook up. And on modern cars, it's not even easy to hook up jumper cables, for example, right? Because the batteries are under the seat and you've got a terminal somewhere, you know, to jump the car. So this would give you an assistant of sorts that lets you figure out, okay, how do I fix this thing? And I'll just demonstrate the product right now, not the product, the idea. And what did I use? I used a pen holder, so I have this little.
The bear was the one that you seem to be able to detect the easiest.
Oh yeah, my bear. Where's the bear? Here, let's get the bear going.
Yeah, this was one of my dream projects because I really feel like when I have a PDF that's trying to give me some information, it's kind of hard to figure out the diagrams with the actual device. But I think one of the things that we've kind of found about this is it's actually hard to detect something inside of something else.
Yes, it definitely is. So okay, so we basically, I'll show you, let me show you at work first of all. Okay, so I think what we did here is, okay, so you notice what happened. As soon as it detected the bear, I was able to overlay bear pottery right there. And then we thought, oh, it would be cool to also display an image or a video. Like you could do a video associated with the object. And so it's working, right? We detected the bear and boom, here we are. We're showing something kind of cool. And And that's simply done on that recognition. And so let me show you how this is working. We are loading, let me show you first of all, we have the resource groups. So let's see how we did that. Productinfo.sks. Oh, this is, remember the flower shop? I kind of stole that and we just ended up using something else. But we had in here, it wasn't in the assets. Okay, so we have, these are the objects that we trained it to recognize. So this was the bear pottery. I don't know if you can see these images very clearly here. Let me go see if I can get a better view of them. So why can I not zoom in on these? I don't know. It's not letting me zoom in. Let me see if I can do Command plus here. No. Well, anyway, so we scanned in these items, the pottery, the bear, a pen holder, an old backup tape, and a USB drive. And going back to the code, what we're doing is, let me start at the bottom here because this is what we're looking for. Remember before we were looking at scene renderers? What we're doing here is we're looking for an object anchor when it detects the object. So as soon as we detect an object, we create a reference to that object. And then all we have to do is say, okay, well, above or below or whatever, we're going to add text or an image. And in this case, we're adding both a text and an image. So here's that ocean image that we're adding. And then we're also adding the text as well. So where's our text value right here? Create the node. Oh, create text node. Yeah, so this is where we name it. So we add the text node and the image node. And you can see we were doing a little bit of experimentation right here. I don't remember why we took this out of here. But this, oh, and this was to flip it. This is why the image is looking, it's flat like that because we're flipping it down. So if I change this, we can display it vertically instead of horizontally. But let me grab the other thing and then see if we can. The cool thing is that it can detect multiple objects. And so here was the other guy that we trained it to recognize. Now this one was, I don't know if it, let's see. Okay, there we go. So it detected it and it's backwards. You can see because my phone's a little bit limited, but it's the pen holder. So we give it the label of what we detected, and I'm not playing with the image right now, and I guess I should display the image. I probably should display it in a vertical manner. But look how cool this is. If I go right here right now, it should be able to detect the other image as well. Oh, come on. There we go. The bear pottery.
This is all because you previously scanned them with the Apple Scan, and then it's recognizing everything.
Yes. Yeah. Let me show you this app. This app is really cool. This is downloadable from the Apple developer website, and I think it's just called. Yeah, it's just the name of the app is the scanner. This is where you can create a new, and I'll just run it. We didn't really go through this code too much. In fact, I think we just took a look at it. It'd be good to go through it line by line at some point. But I can create. Let me grab a new object and we'll scan something new here. Let's see. How about let's try
I can see how that would be very useful, like you said, for like somebody needing to fix something like an automotive vehicle or something, like somebody like Mitsubishi or GM or somebody like that needs, because there's a lot of people who don't necessarily know a lot about the vehicles and so I can see how that would be a good value for them.
Exactly, right. Yeah, and so so many possible applications. And then with, and I recognize that it's one of the biggest issues I would have is, grabbing my phone and then, kind of using it in a place that's hard to reach. I think that would be the biggest limitation. Um, but in a car or something big, I think it's super useful because you can digitize it and provide some meaningful information to somebody. And I think this will really take off when AR glasses are available, where somebody could put glasses on and they can be in a scene or under the hood of the car or in the basement, whatever, in an area without having to look at something, and then information can be overlaid naturally without having to look down at something. I think that would really make things helpful. So, but here it isn't working. It's automatically trying to put a bounding box around the object. I don't know if you can see the highlighted box right here. It's very faint.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, yeah. So it says it's 0.3 meters away, and it's about a tenth. Yeah. So it looks about right. This is about 10 centimeters. And I'm going to go ahead and hit next. And now what he wants me to do is it wants me to go around as if I was scanning it with my phone. And as I complete different parts of it, it gives you feedback. And what's it doing? Limited tracking. So that's one of the issues that we were facing was, I'm not sure if it's because of my desk or clutter. There's reflections all over the place, as you can tell from the desk itself. But you get the idea. In fact, maybe I'll just do it let me try this. Unfortunately, I have to have my phone tethered, so that makes it a little tough. I'm gonna see if I can do this right here.
Yeah, I feel like we've had better luck when it wasn't kind of free floating on your invisible desk.
I think you're right, Jamie, for sure. All right, let's try that again now.
Does Apple provide this app specifically to work with their AR kit? Is that the idea that they do? That they made that?
I don't, yes, I think so, because this app is part of the AR. As you can see, that's what they're importing right here, AR kit. So they're using it, but when you go in and learn about their AR system, they do present this app as one of the tools that you can use to scan in objects.
Right, and I also think that third parties are making their own scanning apps on top of it.
Oh, okay. So they're taking this code and then they're also
Yes.
morphing it into something else.
Yes.
Yeah, this is pretty basic, and it's pretty frustrating sometimes to do scans with it. So I think there's probably a lot of room for improvement that people can make. So
Definitely. I think a professional that wanted to scan in would probably have a very well lit area with some sort of a light ring or something, and have a neutral background around the app where around the object. And even I can envision some sort of a gimbal or some sort of you have a high quality camera that you can, not just doing this by hand, but that just goes smoothly around the object. And so you would build an arm and have the object static with good lighting, and you would probably get some fantastic results doing it that way. I think that would be that would be the best way. If I was in the business, that's what I would do. I would get a high quality camera and some sort of an arm that just goes and methodically scans the object 360 degrees from a consistent, radius around the object. And that would give you probably some really excellent results.
Now, Chris, am I right in thinking that we discovered that this app does use some GPS information, or at least it uses, you can't like turn the object, you have to walk the camera around the object?
No, it's not that it uses GPS. It's using the feature points that are in the scene. So, yeah, and I don't know if it uses the accelerometer so that it knows which way the camera is being turned. It probably does, but it's not the GPS, but it is likely the accelerometer to give it that XYZ knowledge, right?
Right, but so it knows where the camera is in the room. I guess that's
right, like where it's pointing exactly.
You can't just like put something on a Lazy Susan and spin it around and get a good scan.
Jamie, you always have these ideas, and I say let's try that. Let's see. I mean, I don't know. Would that work? That's a great idea, right? Let me try that. Can you? And it's going to be not a Lazy Susan, but it's going to be like some sort of a
notebook you can spin.
Yeah, something that can, like a notebook that spins, right?
Well, they have, have you ever gone to the Chinese restaurant where in the center they have like that, it's almost like a Lazy Susan.
Yeah,
like this big round thing that they spin around so everybody can reach the dishes kind of thing?
Right.
Is that what you're talking about, Jamie?
It is. But I have the feeling that won't work here because I feel like it knows where the camera is in the world. And if you spin the object around, it's not moving the bounding box.
Yeah, it's not working. You notice what happened is it's not moving, just as you said, the bounding box is not moving.
So the camera has to be on the Lazy Susan, and the object has to be in the center fixed.
Exactly. So because you notice as I move the camera, it's filling in the spots that it says, oh, okay, I recognize this, right? So it then darkens them. So it just did this part. And so it needs to move the camera. Boom, now it's got that part. Now I have to move over here and do these. So the process is dependent on the camera itself moving.
Okay.
Yeah, so this one's going to be messed up because I moved it. I don't think they want
Yeah,
you
it's not, the object isn't completely in the bounding box.
Right, exactly. Oops. Yeah, so it has to be static. And then, yeah, because if you're doing it right, you'll notice what happens is it colorizes the parts of and it seems to,
it's like scanning all the different little points of it.
Yes, yep.
It's like almost like the facial recognition thing. It looks like, like Apple's facial recognition, but it's doing the opposite.
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's doing the in 3 dimensions, which is great.
Yeah.
So if you move the camera further away, will it make the bounding box a little bigger?
And that's actually something that's not supposed to change, because I noticed that, yeah, it makes the bounding box bigger, but you don't want it to change because then it starts to include other objects if you change the bounding box. You notice that?
Yeah, that's I think where we want the solid background and no other objects around kind of an environment to
right. Yep,
get
exactly.
a really good scan.
Yeah, and I think maybe it wouldn't take much really, because all you need is some sort of like something to hold the camera steady,
Right.
that can then just circle. I think you have to circle from a lower angle, and then you'd have to come up and circle from a higher angle, and then you'd have to go from the top. So it's something that can go complete 360 degrees this way, and then raise a bit and go 360 again, and then raise one last time, go 360, looking down on the object, and then you'd be able to get a very good scan of the object, of all the data points. And I think that would work quite well. Yeah, because it's seeing it, and I think I mess it up as I do this here. I'm going to try to scan it
I
again.
guess I've always actually been kind of confused. Why is your phone docked? Why do you have to have your phone docked?
Oh, because I am running, because I'm doing this. I'm running Xcode,
Uh-huh.
and on the device,
On
which has to be connected directly. I don't know if I could do that wirelessly.
on the phone, you're running you're running this application on the phone, right?
Right. And also I'm using QuickTime I'm using the QuickTime player to broadcast it to my screen that I'm sharing.
Oh, I see. So that we can see it.
Right, right.
So if you were just doing this yourself, you wouldn't have to be docked. Is that right?
Well, I would, true. I wouldn't have to be docked except when I run it from Xcode. So I could actually run it, put it on my phone as an
application.
As an application right here, and I would go and run it right there, and then it would not have to be docked. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So so the mode in which you're working, you're actually running it from Xcode, but you didn't have to build it as an application to run on the phone?
Yeah, well, so actually, yeah, I'll show you. So every time that I pull an app here, I go on here and I hit, I select the device, because as you know, you can, ARKit will not run on the simulator.
Right, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes, yeah, it needs the GPU and a lot of other resources that are only available on the device itself, either an iPad or an iPhone.
Okay.
Yeah, so you have to run it. You have to run it on a device, and also there's requirements. It will not run on the earlier iPhones. I forget what the specs are, if it's an 8 or a 10 that you need, but you need a more current device to run ARKit. And ideally, we were talking about the LiDAR. That's the thing we all wish we could have, because that is going to be super helpful for scanning objects as well. So yeah, I select the device, I select it here, and for this to work, it has to be connected. If I disconnect it, then doesn't give me the option to do that.
Okay.
What else could you do? I think there's stuff. Once you get the app on the phone or the iPad, you can run it untethered. And as far as QuickTime goes, you could set up, there's some apps that will let you do screen sharing that are wireless. So it's possible to do it wirelessly.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a great thing. I mean, this was published a few years ago, and there's a lot of room to improve this. But I think the biggest improvement would come from physically managing your environment. All right, so what else did we look at? I'll close this guy. So this lets you create the data file that we used earlier. And let me go ahead and bring back in what we did here. Portal, go. Object detected. And how are we doing on time? Yeah, so we have like 15 more minutes or so. And I actually have to, I also have to go a little bit earlier. So maybe we'll just kind of wrap it up around the same time that Pat has to go.
Okay.
Um,
I have to tell you that my favorite of all of our projects was like the first project we did with where the solar system was floating in your living room.
oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, let me open that one up because that was a lot of fun. We need to look at that again too. Close project.
And Matt, Chris has made all of the software that we've been experimenting with available on his GitHub account, and that was what he was talking about being posted in the meetups.
Ah, okay. Chris, is it on? Is it Chris Jungman? Is that your GitHub?
Yeah, it's a Chris. I think it's actually reversed. So it's the first four letters is Jung,
Uh-huh.
and let me actually go to GitHub. What is my GitHub? And I'll just share that with you there.
My GitHub name is M Dolan Code, so I could follow you afterwards there. So.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'll just show you where it is here. Yeah, so it's a Young Chris, Jungchris.
Okay.
And I have all the gists in here. So if you click on here, you just go right there and you go share gists right here, my gists. And then there's here's the one for detecting objects in a scene, add a video to a scene. Let me make this bigger for you guys. Here's create a horizontal plane detector. Oh, there's the solar system one right there. That's a lot of fun. You will need some resources for that, but they're available on the internet. They're just textures for the planets. If we have time, that looks like.
And these, as I recall, these are just because they're just the view controller. So we started out with an ARKit style application, and then replace just the view controller, right, Chris?
Exactly. Yeah, and actually, that's a great point. When you go into Xcode and you just create the project right here. In fact, I'll just go and make a new project. You go create file, new project, and what you do is you go AR app right there.
Ah, okay. So instead of doing like single app.
Single view, yeah. And I've gone through, there's actually a video where I go through from scratch, just so that you'll know what's under the hood in this. Basically, if you do it from scratch, you actually have to go and add in an AR view and then make the connections to the view controller. And there's a couple other steps as well. You have to add in your plist something to request permission to use a camera, otherwise it'll crash. I think those are the two major things that get added. And I'll just show you what that looks like here. It says hello solar or something.
So in other words, if you do it like from a single app view compared to this, there's a lot more legwork you got to do to make sure everything is okay. And this Apple helps you out by creating this.
By creating all that, yeah. So you select storyboard. We played a lot with. You notice that the UI scene kit, a UI kit is not available. So I'm just going to do storyboard, and I'll show you what gets created on here real quick. I'll create Hello Solar. And what it does is it creates this right here is what you'll need. Where is the camera request here?
In required device capabilities.
Yeah, where was that?
It's like 4 up from the bottom on the left-hand side.
Oh, thank you, Jamie.
Sure.
Bundle info, bundle name. I'm not seeing it, but let's take a look at here what we got. right out of the box. So AR scene view is what gets added in here. And the connections are made to your view controller already. So if you notice on here, you've got your IB outlet for the AR scene view. So that gets created.
Oh.
And if you run this as is, just like that, it gives you a real good boost to your feeling that you're an amazing developer. Because it'll actually show a 3D scene asset that they include in the package. And you've probably seen this before in some of the demos, but let me move this out of the way here. And then boom, right there, hello access. Hello Solar would like to access your camera. I hit OK, oh, on my device. And they give you this right out of the box.
Yeah. I remember seeing that at some time ago, but I forgot about it. That is so cool.
Right. And so this is like a lot of the work is done for you. It's really incredible. Yeah. And so, yeah, so this is how to get up and running quickly. And then all you have to do once you've got this done is you go to these, you click on viewcontroller.swift right here, like, the solar system, and you can just copy all of this code and pop it in place of what's already provided by Apple, add the textures, and you'll be able to run the solar system. So since I don't know where the textures, and we have very limited time, I'm not going to go ahead and down those. But that, like I said, that video is already, it's on YouTube. I have that linked on the meetup. And I think we did that back in April.
What's your YouTube? What's the YouTube channel?
Oh, it is, let's see what it's called here. I don't know. It looks like it, obviously I'm not a YouTuber because I couldn't even tell you the name of the channel. It's just it looks like it's my name or something.
Okay. I'll search it up. Then I'll search up your name and like AR kit or something like that.
Yeah, what I'll do is here, let me see if I can find the one about the solar system, and then I'll just drop that in our chat right here. Detecting planes. Here's the virtual solar system right here. All right, so I'm going to pop that in there. Yeah, I see reactions, share. Oh, there it is, right in the middle. That was too hard to see.
I know, sometimes it is.
So that's the link to that video there.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Chris.
Cool, thanks.
Cool. So what should we do next time? I guess do you guys have any idea of what would be fun to try out? Pat's always got some ideas.
I have lots going on at the moment. Geez. I guess one of the things that I'm thinking about is a better understanding of the building blocks for vision, which is also scanning, right? Like what are all the little building blocks? And if we had all those building blocks, we could combine them in different ways. Just like you were saying, oh, take the solar system and just replace this and this. Understanding like the most primitive building block, like the Apple Scan app, right? What else is like that? What are all those little teeny building blocks? And then we could have a little visual representation of that, and then just actually kind of drag and drop them together.
That's a great idea. And even make a repository of all these building blocks. Yeah, that we can all add to. Yeah.
Yeah, and try to make them simple. So it would be up to us to edit them.
Yeah, okay. All right, so that's going to be some homework then, is to find those building blocks and put them together in one place.
Yeah, and the scanning app is a great start.
Yeah, the scanning app is a great building block. Okay. Building blocks for AR, for AR apps.
And I'm just going to run now because I have to go to my other Zoom.
Okay,
So
okay.
thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, take care.
Thanks, Pat. Well, Pat always has some great ideas, so that's really fantastic. Cool. Matt or Jamie, did you have any suggestions or ideas?
Not at this time. This is my first time with ARKit. I'm kind of just yeah. I really enjoyed this session here. So it gave me a little bit of a look into how ARKit can be used and stuff. And I really look forward to the next session too. So
Great. Well, yeah, thanks for joining us. And I hope that we get to just check out your app, your music app sometime.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, great. Well, thank you both. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you in 2 weeks. Actually, it's the first and third Friday of each month. So that'll be February, sometime in February that we'll be doing this. February 5th, looks like.
oh, awesome.
I think that's right.
All right. Well, mark your calendar. We'll see you then.
All right. Nice to meet you, Chris. Nice to meet you, Jamie.
Nice to meet you.
All right. Bye, Jamie. Thanks for
Bye-bye.
organizing. Bye.
Thanks again, Chris.